Here we are, review number 13, and they said it wouldn't last. This is a very special instalment, not one of the regular Cracks reviews at all. And what's triggered this deviation is an email from Phyllis Foote of Harlem in New York City, who asks, wondering what 5 or 6 of your all-time favourite movies might be. 5 or 6, Phyllis? Make it impossible for me. 50 or 60 and we might have a fair chance. Anyway, Kevin from Culburra Beach in Australia was also asking, do you have any favourite classic movies and why do you like them? Kevin, an inquiring mind, and going the extra mile asking why, not just what. Plus, noted, is the use of that very often abused word, classic. Ask a millennial to name a classic movie and they're likely to quote the early work of Shia LaBeouf or one of the Jonas Brothers. Okay, if you say so. But how does this greying old crock define a classic? Number 1. It stands the test of time. And I'm sorry, but 7 years is not a long enough test. Try 25 years as a minimum and you're kind of just edging into the ballpark. B. It has to stand up to repeated viewings and still make an impact, still reveal new nuances and reconfirm its standards. Whatever it set out to do when it was made, it's still doing it very, very well. And 3, its core messages are as valid or somehow echo social, moral, interpersonal ideas, still relevant in our times, or help to shape our times. So, in no particular order, here are 6 of my favourite classics, certainly not all of them, and for Kevin, a few reasons why. All About Eve. Oscar robbed Bette Davis in the role of her lifetime, running the full 3-legged race of bitch, victim, and high-octane egomaniac in this Joseph Mankiewicz penned and directed backstage melodrama to end all backstage melodramas. It's a very talky movie in which the words are flavoursome, rich, and delicious, with some of the most quotable lines in movie history drizzling like chocolate over barbed wire. Great scenes. The ensemble cast on the stairs are Davis and Celeste Holm in the car broken down in the snow. The fabulous sadomasochistic subtext layers revealed when George Sanders challenges Anne Baxter in the hotel room. It doesn't get any better than this. Guaranteed, after Eve, you will never, ever think about fur coats, Lieberstrom, or gulping a cocktail in the same way again. And to prove it's as relevant today as when it was made, what does Marilyn Monroe ask of George Sanders? Do they have auditions for television? And as he so insightfully replies, that's all television is, my dear, nothing but auditions. Lawrence of Arabia, 1962. Peter O'Toole in a career-defining role showing us all how to creatively accessorise an all-white robe. With Alec Guinness looking very, very regal, Omar Sharif looking impossibly young, and Anthony Quinn acting bigger than the Sinai. It's a boys' movie through and through. Guns, 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 explosions, a train crash, no women of significance anywhere, but there are a lot of very frisky camels. Why do I like it so much? Thanks for asking, Kevin. For a start, the visuals. They transport me to another world, a very clean world of sand. Of special note, the spectacular use of landscape in scenes like the departure of the Hawitat and Lawrence's gang from Wadi Rum and the thundering assault on Aqaba, still one of the most exciting scenes I've ever seen in a movie. It's also one of the finest screenplays ever written, presenting arguments on a complex topic from many perspectives and making a point as clear and relevant today as it was in World War I. What interest do the British have in Arabia? Plain and simple, oil. If you can ever see this film on a cinema screen, don't miss the chance. Lawrence of Arabia is the reason 70mm film was invented. Well, not really, but anyway. Bigger than huge, truly epic, but never losing the sense of intimacy of one man's extraordinary story. Trust me, after seeing Lawrence, you will never again contemplate an attack on a Turkish stronghold without doing it on the back of a camel. Tootsie, 1982. What makes a man a better man? When he's desperate for a gig. when he opts to audition for a role in a daytime soap opera wearing a floral frock. If more people took career risks like that, wouldn't the world be a better place? The script for Tootsie apparently went through more hands than an Olympic rowing team, usually a clear indication of a celluloid disaster in the making, but in this case, the end result is a priceless comedy incredibly well balanced with its upfront pro-feminist message. The film is masterfully paced from beginning to end, and despite the rather extreme idea of this guy fooling everyone into believing he's a she, it is totally believable. Dustin Hoffman proves once again he can play absolutely anything. Now, here's the one to shock. I can hear the emails pinging in the background already. Little Women, 1994. Gillian Armstrong's film version. Yes, I know it's too young to be a classic by my rigid standards, but what fun is a rule that can't be bent out of shape under the unnatural influence of crinolines and corsets? When I first saw this film, I had to admit it was perfect, and that's a word I have reserved for only 3 other movies ever. It's a class act on every level. The script, the casting, the performances, costuming, art direction, lighting. Yes, it's a bit of a Nana's chocolate box sort of movie, but was it ever trying to be anything other than that? No. What it sets out to do, it does brilliantly. Winona Ryder is actually very good. Susan Sarandon, again, just knows how to play a role that brings believability and respect to a character that had traditionally been played as pretty two-dimensional in other film versions. And there are plenty of them, other film versions that is. But for once, the last remake is the best. Warning, there are no guns, no fisticuffs, no car crashes. Real men are gonna hate this movie. Too many girls in big frocks curling their hair. So guys, don't moan, just go build a bookshelf or change the spark plugs in the car and let the girls and the gays really enjoy this one in peace, okay? Giant, 1956. George Stevens takes on Edna Ferber's Texas saga of oil, cows and racism, and this multi-generational tale of people resisting inevitable change and finally embracing it still packs a wallop. James Dean, absolutely mesmerising, and Elizabeth Taylor and Rock Hudson both prove their acting chops are very solid when handled material this good, with a sensible director heading the whole roundup. Yeah, so some of the rear projection shots and rather odd fashions, like what year is that meant to be that Rock first meets Liz? I can't tell by the outfits. They're a little jarring to contemporary audiences, but please make the effort to look past those few bumps. Want some more whys there, Kevin? For a start, Dimitri Tiomkin's music, Jane Withers as Vashti, Mercedes McCambridge as dykey old Luz, oh those evil boots and spurs, and wonderful Chill Wills as Uncle Bawley. I just think it's such a pity he didn't make more movies. The scene where Taylor visits James Dean in his little house and he offers her afternoon tea, I actually think it's one of the finest moments of acting I've ever seen on screen. It's so touching, so brilliantly played by both of them. His Girl Friday, 1940. Hands down, slam dunk winner as my all-time favourite comedy, bar none. It also proves another case where the remake is better than the original, where the dialogue delivery is on the spin cycle in this battle of the sexes, battle of the wits, and battle of the tongues. Howard Hawks directs Cary Grant and Rosalind Russell as a once-married couple who can't quite let go of each other or their careers. And why do I like it so much, Kevin? Well, here it's the smart and snappy script adapted from the play The Front Page, but in a stroke of brilliance, a gender swap of one of the lead characters, which adds a whole new level of comedic tension. Now, the play has been filmed 26 times in various guises, and this was version number 2. It still stands hats and shoulders above the rest of the bunch. Special mention to the Been There Done That Seen It All reporters. It's a brilliant example of ensemble acting and comic timing. So there you go. 6 of the best of my idea of classics. Now, I'm not saying these are 6 of my all-time favourite movies, but they are films that fulfil the criteria and I hold them in very high regard. Now, if you want to see some of the runners-up, please check the website www.betweenthecracks.reviews. I knew I'd forget that. End.